My name is Theresa, and I am here to share my experience of how body awareness has helped me find emotional recovery and how it keeps me finding more of myself. And it is my hope that when you leave here today, you will take three things with you. One is acceptance. Acceptance that a complete human being is a combination of a body, a mind, a spirit, and a personality that has feelings and emotions. And that all of these things are intricately connected. What happens on any level of consciousness affects the other levels and vice versa. The EA Big Book, the blue book here, states on page 14 that the body, the mind, and the spirit make up our total human self. Each is an integral part of us, and each is influenced by the others. We really cannot divide ourselves as human beings. The second thing I would like you to know or to take with you is awareness. Awareness that our experiences at any age, but especially as children, have influenced our beliefs about ourselves and our relationships, and that these beliefs are at the core of our dis-ease with our body, our mind, and our spirit. And three, in order to experience emotional recovery, we must learn to recognize and pay attention to the stories, patterns, and signs that we receive from our bodies, from our minds, our spirits, our feelings, and then take positive action in our lives that will transform our attitudes, allowing the grace to forgive ourselves and others, and to live our lives with peace and joy. So these are pretty amazing, big things that I want you to take away with you. I would have to ask the question, how do you do this? Or I'm certain you're asking, how do you do this? And what does it have to do with body awareness, and what is the connection? Well, I'm going to start out by going over what the qualities of the body, mind, and spirit are. And my background is in massage therapy, so I am going to go at this a little bit from anatomy, and I also do Reiki, so I'm also going to go at it from the viewpoint of spirituality.
Also do what?
Reiki. No, it's not yoga. It's energy work. Okay. So first we're going to talk about the body. And what is a body? Anybody have any definitions you want to share with what a body is?
Mind.
Yeah, very good. That is true.
Either for our soul.
That is correct as well. Obviously, yes, ma'am. Yes, it's how we experience the world. Absolutely. Our body is our physical presence in the world. It's how we experience life. It's an intricately interwoven and choreographed mass of cells that are organized to perform the daily functions of breathing, blood movement, chemical reactions, organ function, and millions of other jobs that we don't have to think about unless something hurts, or we find ourselves facing disease, or we find ourselves in dis-ease. 2, our bodies are subject to problems from many causes: congenital, infectious, metabolic, traumatic, allergic, toxic, degenerative, as well as emotional, mental, and spiritual. In the EA Big Book on pages 42 and 43, it states, many symptoms can indicate that our lives are unmanageable. Our physical and psychosomatic illnesses are symptoms. They include ulcers, stomach pains, headaches, hypertension, skin disorders, heart and circulatory irregularities, urinary and intestinal disorders, or back, muscle, and joint complaints. Of course, all physical symptoms should be evaluated medically. But if no reason is found, We must suspect an emotional basis and start looking for the cause. Start looking. That means it's up to you. You get to do the work. And I don't say you have to do the work because you can choose not to, but you get to do the work. And getting to do the work means you get to know yourself more intimately. 3, striving to keep our bodies comfortable and safe leads us to seek control over our environment. Our bodies have the ability to store our discomfort or our dis-ease and express it through our brain and nervous system, hormones, and musculoskeletal systems. The body speaks to the mind through the symptoms and illnesses calling for our attention. In other words, our bodies will remember what our minds are trying so hard to forget. Example, we could swallow our feelings to avoid suffering and feeling pain, but then we may find ourselves suffering from indigestion, stomach problems, or other things. Examples of body speak. Well, I will share with you what my examples are as I have prepared this workshop. I have had hip pain, stomach aches, headaches, elbow pain, and my right eye has been twitching like mad. Some of the questions I've been asking myself are, well, first, did I injure myself? No. What is my body telling me about my feelings? I'm really nervous. What are the stories that I've been telling myself? I'll get to that when we talk to the mind. And what is the belief underneath them that is driving the pain? What is the fear and where does it come from? These are all questions that are answers to all of these questions you can find by listening to your body and asking questions and listening to what your higher power is telling you. Examples from the Today Reader on October 13th. Pain is nature's way of telling me I have a need which has to be taken care of, whether it is physical or emotional. So our pain, whether on any level that it's at, it's a message. These containers were made to communicate what's going on deep inside of us to us. They're clues. All of these things are clues. And if you're like me, if you like puzzles, it's kind of fun to figure out. It's not easy, but I like puzzles. I like to figure these things out.
Theresa, can I ask a question?
Yes.
How many people here, she just stated a belief. It's kind of like a physical spiritual law that, first of all, what happens to us gets stored in our tissue. Okay. Second of all, that by engaging our process in the right way, that we can move through things that are problems, whether it's a pain. First of all, who believes that? Now, tougher question, who here has already started to work on that level? That's interesting. Good.
Cool. I have found about the reading, I have found that is right on the money for me. My pain that I experienced preparing this workshop led me to a belief that comes up and sideswipes me every single time I find myself in a position of leadership. The old belief is, Theresa, you just are not capable of doing this. I often don't recognize what's happening right away, and I have to go to my toolbox, which is full of awesome stuff like the EA 12 steps, people I trust, journaling, books I've read and reread, and for me, Reiki, meditation, body work, and body awareness. These tools help me get back to a place of clarity and comfort in my body, my mind, and my spirit. Any questions on the body or anything anyone wants to add?
Can you just tell me what Reiki is?
Sure. Reiki is a complementary form of healing that works with the energy of the body. We have a human physical body. It is my belief we also have a body that is our energy. And when we are feeling physical pain, it is my belief that energetically there's something that's amiss. Something's not right. And if we don't pay attention to that, it turns physical to get more of our attention. So it's complementary. It doesn't mean that you don't go see your doctor. It doesn't mean that you do all the other things that you need to do to take care of your body. It's complementary, and it assists in healing.
So it's a therapy.
Yeah, like a massage therapist. A massage therapist works with the muscles. A Reiki therapist works with your energy. Yes, ma'am?
I think many, many years ago, I had a friend who had a Reiki
Session?
appointment.
Okay.
She let me come in and look her. And is this, in my understanding, I don't know if this is old and new or if it's correct. She was laying on this table,
Yes.
and the energy teacher, I don't remember what she said, actually. There's a lot of words going on, but she held her hands above her body
Mm-hmm.
in different spots.
Mm-hmm.
And so is that, does that sound correct?
Yes, it is correct. With Reiki, you can either have your hands on the body or above the body. But what you do, what I do when I do Reiki is I allow myself to channel a healing energy that comes through me, and it's healing for the highest and greatest good for the person on whatever level they need it, and I don't decide that.
Do you teach that, or do you do that as part of your massage?
It's that's between what my client needs and what they are asking for, and I tailor my sessions with them, each person individually. So it can be.
Is it true though, I think I've taken a little Reiki course.
Okay.
And just, they showed us that if you bring your hands together, you can start to feel your
Yes.
energy.
You know, it
Even
helps.
Before you touch, you can feel it.
If you rub your hands together a little bit just, it helps engage the energy a little bit, and then you just put, until you kind of feel like you're pushing against something.
Resistance.
There's a resistance. That's the energy that we're talking about. And it surrounds every body. So, okay. Any other questions? Okay. All right. We're going to move on and talk about what the mind is next. What is the mind? Well, for one thing, it's so complex and integral to our function as a human being that it's pretty hard to say what it is in a single sentence. I would offer a question or two for you to consider. Where is the mind housed? Yes. And all of the above, and that you get to figure out for yourselves. Okay, so is it within the brain itself, or is the mind really something that encompasses our heart and our energy as well? The brain itself houses two very important physical structures of the endocrine system, which is the chemical system of the human body. The pituitary gland, also known as the master gland, because its hormones control all of the other endocrine glands of the body. So if there's a problem with your pituitary gland, you're more than likely going to have a problem with your body. And then there's the pineal gland, which produces the hormone melatonin, which we were talking about at lunch or some. Yes, we were talking about melatonin. It regulates your daily and seasonal circadian rhythms, the sleep-wake patterns that determine your hormone levels, the stress levels, and your physical performance. The pineal gland is also known as the third eye, located right here, in the world of energy anatomy. It's considered the spiritual seat of the soul. So, as I was saying before, I believe not only do we have a physical body, we have an energy body. And interestingly enough, what I know about the energy body is that it has openings to it, which are called chakras. And these chakras are in direct, they're directly over every gland in the physical human body's endocrine system. So they correspond with the endocrine system physically. And I think that's fascinating. Some of the qualities of the mind that I have found to be true for me. The mind organizes our perceptions and understandings of the world. It's how we make sense of things. The mind's most basic assumptions are laid down by a child. They're laid down as a child, when you were children. And that these assumptions become our default beliefs, our operating system for how we operate in the world. But they are formed at childhood. The mind seeks to understand what life is about and may learn through linear reasoning, wisdom of the heart, or both. The spirit informs the mind through whispers of intuition or the thunder and lightning of disease or dis-ease. So, if, as we were talking about before, the energy being not quite right or off balance, you don't listen to that, bam, you find yourself facing a disease that you didn't expect. Or you become so uncomfortable in your mind or your body that you don't know what to do next. So if you aren't paying attention to the subtle messages, you might pay attention to the louder ones that knock you on your keister. And I would have to add, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. An example is, there's someone I know who is a friend, a dear friend, but she always asks Spirit to get her attention with a 2x4, and she spends a lot of time in bed because she's down and out with chronic pain. She asks to be hit in the head, and she gets it. So it's kind of crazy how that all works. The mind has the ability, all is not lost. The mind has the ability to learn new ways to understand or perceive what's happening in our lives, both on the inside and the outside. So it's trainable. You can retrain your brain. You can retrain your mind. 6, the mind is strongly linked to the 5 senses of the body. The body participates with the mind by using memory to store experiences that we may not have been ready or capable of understanding when they happened. So something happens in childhood, it's too big for this little kid to understand it, and they have to survive, so it just gets stored there until they're ready, they're old enough and ready to understand it. And then something happens that triggers that memory. Now they remember it and they have to deal with it.
Can I stop for a second?
Yes.
I had an experience, one of the most obvious experiences that I had of that was I would get regular shiatsu massage, and when I would have, when the therapist would touch certain spots occasionally, I would have memories come up. Just boom, something I hadn't thought of for 35 years. Has anyone else here had that experience where a smell, a touch, or some event has brought back a memory that initiated a deep process? And have you introduced that word yet, deep process?
I have not. That was,
Yeah?
not yet.
Okay.
Okay, these memories become pain or dis-ease in our muscles, tendons, and immune system and other tissues of our body. On page 15 of the EA book, it says, our thought patterns help to form our attitudes toward life. These attitudes have the potential to make us well or sick, happy or miserable. It all depends on how we choose to think. And I'd like to emphasize the word choose. I think it's good to remind ourselves that we have choices, especially when we are feeling boxed in or cornered or in a place of pain. We have choices in those moments, in those instances, but it's hard to remember that when you're experiencing those feelings. Reminding myself that I have choices often helps me calm myself enough to be able to think clearly. Thinking clearly helps me settle into myself and identify what feeling is really driving the show at that moment. For me, it's usually fear. Any questions or comments? Yeah.
How does sleeping patterns and dreaming fit into this? Does it fit? Does any, do you get any symptoms from how well you sleep and how well you dream and what dreams?
I would, this is my personal answer to that, I think everything's connected. How you sleep and what your dreams are. they're absolutely related to what's going on. They may not make sense, but I do believe that they are absolutely related to. I didn't sleep very good last night. But I know that was because I'm nervous. So, but yes, I don't have any research that I can tell you that proves that, but it's my personal belief that it's all connected. It's all related. So, the next thing I want to talk about is spirit. Spirit is known by many names. God, the universe, energy, the all, and higher power, to just name a few. I believe that no matter what we call it, it is all the same thing. It's a very personal understanding for each one of us, and I want you to know that what I speak about is what is true for me. That doesn't mean it has to be true for you. I did a lot of soul searching after the death of my mom in 2007, and my current understanding of spirit is the result of this process, and I think that it is ever evolving to deeper levels of understanding. Page 9, in It Works If You Work It, says, EA is a spiritual, not a religious program. Groups are not encouraged to say special prayers other than the Serenity Prayer during meetings. People of all faiths, as well as atheists and agnostics, should feel welcome at our meetings and a part of our program. Members may feel free to substitute higher power or another term for God in reading our literature. So whatever that means to you is yours to own and experience. No judgment on that. For me, I believe spirit means that we're all connected at a very deep level. In some ways, we're all connected to each other through spirit, and we individually express ourselves as aspects of this thing that is bigger than you and me. It pulses through my body the way electricity pulses through electrical wires. When you flip a light switch off, electricity no longer flows to the bulb and there is darkness. It's the same way in me, only the switch is my thoughts. When my thoughts and my beliefs are negative and judgmental, they become stored at a cellular level, creating a physical or emotional block in my body. If I don't change my negative thoughts and beliefs, they can become headaches, tension, stomach aches, ulcers, even tumors. 2, I believe that spirit communicates with me through my body pain, my intuition, inspiration, awareness, meditation, nature, prayer, synchronicity, challenges, creativity, and lastly, and most importantly, my relationships. Step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. Well, I believe that spirit supports me and participates with me in every aspect of my life, whether I am aware of it or not. As I work the steps, they become embodied in my thoughts and actions. Any comments? Okay. We're going to get into feelings and emotions now. So my first question is, what do the body, the mind, and the spirit have to do with my feelings and emotions? And what's the difference? Well, my experience is teaching me that the answer to this question, to both of these questions, well, the first one actually, is everything. Let's talk about what EA says about feelings and emotions. November 17th. I am learning one day at a time how to identify what I feel and to stop denying that I feel it. Feelings are natural. They tell me what is going on with me. The program does not teach me to not feel, but how to react to my feelings. Today, I will remember that it's okay for me to feel. Page 110, in It Works If You Work It. Our feelings are meant to be experienced and accepted, not analyzed. The emotions themselves are simply strong triggers. Emotions are not good or bad, but we can react to them in ways that are either healthy or unhealthy. And so what does that mean? Well, it means that feelings are normal. And that was the very first thing I had to learn. Feelings are normal and that everybody has them. If we refer back to the qualities of the mind, it states, the mind's most basic assumptions are laid down by a child, and these assumptions become our default beliefs and operating system for the rest of our lives. Number 4, under the qualities of the body, states, our bodies have the ability to store our discomfort and our dis-ease, expressing it through our brain and nervous system, our hormones, musculoskeletal system. The body speaks to the mind through these symptoms and illnesses, calling for our attention. They're messages. Hey, I need you to pay attention to something. This is bothering me. This hurts. We need to work through this, and it'll keep getting stronger until you do pay attention to it. My experience growing up was don't talk, don't trust, and don't feel. I was taught to stuff my feelings. I grew up with stomach aches, ear infections, and sore throats, and a whole lot of other aches and pains. I was often sick, and I learned that when I was sick, I would get some attention. This was my operating system. This was normal. I'm number 8 of 8 children. I got my attention that way. It played games with my thoughts, my self-esteem, my value, and how I learned to operate in relationships and in the world. My feelings became attached to this story and expressed in bursts of emotion that left me feeling ridiculous, embarrassed, naughty, guilty, and full of shame. At the time, I couldn't recognize these feelings because I wasn't allowed to express them as being a normal part of a human being. Instead, they were stored in me until they could no longer be contained. And then they would show themselves as bursts of emotion, body pain, or mental anguish, or all 3. I believed I was a victim, so I behaved like a victim. I fought my feelings, I ran from my feelings, and I froze my feelings. So how did I change? How did I learn that feelings were normal and a natural part of life and that it was okay to let myself feel them? I'm still learning that. I will probably learn that every day of my life. For me, the process has been raw and deep and nothing short of incredible. Is it easy? Not even a little bit. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's the most rewarding thing I do, and it has brought a richness to my life that I could only dream about and hope for before. I'm going to tell you my story, a little bit of it. My journey in recovery began in earnest in 2007 after my mom passed. Her passing was a catalyst for change in my life. And I was primed and ready and just miserable enough to finally do something different. September 13th says, nothing changes unless something changes. At the time, I'd been living my life trying to please everyone. I was married and I had 6 kids, and it just was chaotic. I was miserable, overweight, and sad most of the time. And with my mother's death, I finally felt I had permission to start doing things my way. Faith had always been very important to me, but I was not happy with that part of my life anymore either. I was raised in a strict Catholic home, and I was active for years in leadership roles. After my mother's death, I realized much of what I did in church was to please her, and I needed to find God on my own terms. So, I set out to explore different belief systems and started reading spiritual literature and metaphysical literature. That was where I began. I was very depressed. But books have always been something very important to me. And that was where I began my search. I found I had an insatiable curiosity for wanting to understand how the body works. So I enrolled in the best little massage school in the Midwest to learn about aromatherapy. It was called St. Croix Center for the Healing Arts. It's in Hudson, Wisconsin, but it's not in business anymore. So it really was the greatest little massage school in the Midwest. I left a year and a half later with over 800 hours of training in massage therapy and body work, and with a jewel of wisdom from my massage teacher, June Motzer. She said, "You will learn that your issues lie in your tissues." And she was absolutely right, because I couldn't experience receiving a massage without crying and feeling overwhelmed. I sought professional help to help me through all of the things that I was feeling at the time, and I was diagnosed with complex PTSD. Through the guidance of an understanding and trustworthy counselor, I began to uncover and address old beliefs about myself that kept me from experiencing the fullness of living a joyful life. These old beliefs came from, how do I say this? They came from how I was raised as a little girl. But I also want to add that my parents, as Charlie said in his talk, our parents do the best that they know how to do. They give us what they were given. I addressed a food addiction by attending CORE, a food recovery program.
Core, C-O-R-E.
COR. And I began attending Overeaters Anonymous. I came to realize that food was merely a symptom of something deeper. And I started searching for that deeper thing. But to find it, I needed a different group. So I started Googling, which is one of my favorite things to do. And I don't know why, I thought I needed something about my emotions. Is there even anything called Emotions Anonymous? Oh, let's Google it. And it was there. That's how I found it. Okay, so my search led me to find EA, and a little over a year ago, I attended my first EA meeting. I was fascinated. Okay, so we're going to I was fascinated with the idea that God could be thought of as anything I wanted. And I was fascinated with God being a form of energy. So I also wanted to know more about that. So I explored energy systems of the body, and I became a Reiki practitioner. I've used body work and body awareness, Reiki, prayer and meditation, creative arts, and private counseling, as well as
Was there a group in Hastings?
of OA?
No.
Or EA? No.
You found it.
No.
How far did you have to go to?
I tried, thank you. First one I went to was in St. Paul, but it was a little farther than I wanted to travel. So then the second one I tried was the Apple Valley group, and that's where I stayed. Yeah. So. No, lucky for me. Private counseling, as well as the steps of OA and EA, to find, identify, and release old patterns, stories, and beliefs that no longer serve me. And this is what Charlie is talking about, the deep process work. I've used all of those things. They just feed into each other and help you get deeper to what some of those beliefs are that you carry around about yourself, that they just aren't true. But until you are willing to look at what they are, they rule you and they scare you. But once you can name them, they don't have that power over you anymore. I've been incredibly blessed to have the support of my husband and my children as I continue this work. Are there other ways to experience body awareness? Absolutely. Even the way we speak gives us clues to the old beliefs that influence our thoughts, our actions, and our pain. Examples. Can someone give me an example of things that we say as the human race that talks about what we believe, what we might believe? I'll give you an example. pain in the neck. Weight of the world. Eat my words. Hold my tongue. Stiff upper lip. Broken heart. Yeah. Fed up. Any others?
You are what you eat.
Yes. I heard another one. Fed up. Yeah. It's a cheese.
Don't people communicate with their body
Yes.
to, like, body language? And
Yes.
a lot of times it's different from what they're saying, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
the tone of voice is maybe more important. So somebody's going to sound really mad and look like he's ready to kill, but he might be nice, you know?
Or some
Or vice versa.
Exactly.
someone
That's what I used to do. The current
I'm
thing,
not
resting bitch face.
oh that I have not heard before.
Yeah, it's where you just kind of sit and you look like this all the time. You might be perfectly wonderful inside, but people look at that and say she has a resting bitch face. And that's, they make assumptions.
Yeah.
And you create,
Yeah.
the way people react.
And it's those little idiosyncrasies where someone will ask you, "Are you fine? How are you today?" "Oh, I'm just fine." You know, the head shakes no, but you're saying the opposite. You know, it doesn't
So you
make
can't
sense.
hide from that.
No, you can't. It's like I like to. Let's everybody stand up for a minute, since this is very interesting. Just stand up. I want you just to kind of notice where you are on your feet. Are you leaning a little bit forward? Are you leaning a little bit back? Or are you very centered?
I feel centered right now.
Well, that's good. So, if you're leaning a little bit forward, does that mean maybe you're kind of thinking about all the things you have to do, all the busyness that's coming up, or if you're leaning a little bit backwards, maybe you're living in the past a little bit. Your mind is wandering back there. If you're centered right over your feet, over your hips, are you in the present moment? Are you experiencing what's happening right in front of you right now?
Wise my hands quickly.
You get to find that out. Okay, that was just a little experiment. You can sit down again. Yes. On the flip side of the words that we speak, awareness in your body pain can clue you into what your feelings are that might be hidden and buried away. Examples? Do you have pain in your shoulders and your arms? I would ask you, are you carrying a heavy load of responsibility? Are you holding on to old resentments instead of working through them and letting them go? Is there a loss that you need to grieve? Do you have back pain? Are you worried about something? Is it your belief that you have to work really hard in the world? You have to work hard to get money so you can have all the things you want. Do you have hip pain? Are you afraid of stepping out in the world? Is shame holding you back? Are you a people pleaser? Do you need approval from other people? Knee pain. This can be about flexibility. Are you being stubborn or inflexible? Are you having trouble holding your boundaries? We can experience body awareness in just about everything we do if we're paying attention and being present in our lives and in the moment. Our bodies, our minds, our spirits were designed to interact with each other, and these levels are always communicating with each other. That's my belief. Would anyone here like to share some ways one might come to body awareness and the deeper stories and beliefs inside of you that you've experienced? Sid.
I used to many years ago sing with my first husband's early jazz band, and it was even before that when I was in high school musicals and so forth. I And it stemmed from, a deep-seated fear that I totally sucked, and I would fail anyway, so if I have no voice, they can't play me. But I became aware of that, but I still am on the journey of trying to figure out how to avoid it. It's like, yeah, I know you want to start doing that to me, but I hear it, and I'm still not 100% sure how to circumvent it.
Okay. Anybody else? Nina?
I have a story to share, but I have wonder if you could say a few things about self-medicating with food addictions and cravings,
Well,
like chocolate.
I can speak personally of what I know about my journey. I medicated with food. That medicating with food became cravings, just like alcohol becomes the craving for someone who is an alcoholic. For me, it's sugar. I don't eat sugar anymore. I have 2 years been without eating sugar. Yeah, thank you. I use natural sugar in the form of stevia, but it doesn't trigger me to want to eat. I follow a food plan. Yes.
So what emotions or what did you do to get to where you are now?
I worked with a counselor who got me to see that, interestingly enough, it was a story about dark chocolate that got me to see that maybe I did have a problem with sugar, because I had decided I couldn't eat chocolate, but maybe I could eat dark chocolate because it's healthier for you, right? So Valentine's Day, I went out and bought myself 6 big bars of chocolate. I can do this. I can just have 1 square a day. No problem. I can handle that. And by the end of the second day, all my 6 chocolate bars were gone. I couldn't stop. I just had to eat them all right now until they were gone. And I was so sick. And I went back to my counselor, and she says, "Are you ready? Are you ready now to look that maybe you have a problem?" And I was really miserable, and I was ready. And she asked me to consider going to a food recovery program. And it was there that I learned about OA and the 12 steps for the first time, and started working the steps with a temporary sponsor. And I worked those steps for a year before I started Googling for emotions. Because for me, it was always something deeper, and I knew it was something deeper, and I just wasn't going to get there that way. That helped me get my food under control, but it didn't help me access my emotions.
Notice that Dean had his hand up before.
Oh, okay. Okay, Dean?
Well, I just wanted to share. I just celebrated 36 years in AA. Some of what I want to say piggybacks on what Charlie talked about this morning. My experience is exactly the same. It's all led me here because the core issues are still there, and the addictions didn't address them. They just kept uncovering them.
Yeah.
And my path has been all over the place. A couple things I wanted to recommend Louise Hay's book.
Yes.
You Can Heal Your Body. Not because it will work to heal your body, but it has this clues in it.
Mhm.
And that's my story. I met her in
Both of them are just one of them.
1983, I think it was. And she was dying of cancer, and she's still alive. But I've tried all those years to look at a symptom, figure out what's wrong with me, and hell, I don't know. And the point is that I don't need to know that anymore today. All I need to know is that there's something there that if I go back to my 12-step program and turn it over to my higher power, somehow it's revealed to me, and that I can deal with that damn thing.
I know
One
it.
thing leads to another, and I guess that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied with that. I'm like the old Minnesota farmer that resisted using a computer to learn how to farm better by saying, "Son, I on these computers you want to, but I already don't farm half so good as I know how. I need to be here in 12-step programs to keep me on track, and I'll be doing this the rest of my life.
What was the name of that book?
Thank you, Dean.
You can do your body.
Heal Your Body by Louise Hay.
So
Heal Your Body by
Theresa
Louise.
just passed out this.
Oh, okay.
And so Dean's story points back to Theresa's question. Her question was, who here has had an experience of going through a process with your body that taught you something? And for me, I kept avoiding that by jumping into new medications. And so it isn't until after we start the medications that this level is even accessible, because we're not medicating at all, and all of a sudden our awareness of our body is right in our face. And so the word deprocess, we had a wonderful meeting together to talk about this. We both have different enthusiasms about this. My teacher is Ann Wilson Schaaf. Ann Wilson Schaaf wrote the book Living in Process. And so what she said living in process is the opposite of what we do in this culture. And so what we do in this culture is we avoid process and we control things. And living in process is the opposite of control. And so when it comes down to your body, what living in process is it starts with an understanding, one, that there are other centers of intelligence besides the tip of the iceberg here that I call me, and I make a decision that I'm going to follow those intelligences. So that's the first thing. My body's got information for me, my intuitions, the spirit, they all have information. There's all these different systems that Theresa has talked about. Ann Wilson Schaaf, for example, has something called the Living in Process Therapy Network. And what they do, imagine a room like this where we all come to do deep process work. And here's how the room is set up. On the outside perimeter of the room, there's all mattresses. On the inside is a circle of chairs. And so what happens is we sit and we talk, our issues come up, and as soon as any sensation or emotion arises, you go to the mat. Because what we're supposed to do at that moment is to follow the feeling. And how do we follow the feeling? Not thinking about it. We're simply following it. Now, if something comes up, we notice it. Like if we have a memory come up, we notice it. But we don't follow trains of thought. And then we notice what's arising. Twinges become connected. There's movements and energy in the body. Something that was stuck becomes released. So that's one form of deep process therapy work where, and so the distinction I want to make is between when you go to somebody like Dorothea Hrothgar, who can take you through a deep process. She'll sit you on a table, or you can do some energy work, and she'll do some partial talking work, and then you'll have feelings come up in your body. You might remember stories. You might have huge emotions come up. And then when those emotions arise, you might have an old belief that's been hidden for a long time. And when that belief comes up, that's a time when you can re-script. And so re-scripting is when you're open, you're in a safe place, you're with a safe guide, or you're by yourself. Something's come up, and at your highest place of being a loving coach, or the other person is a loving coach, you learn what the belief was, and then let the emotion and the stored emotion go from your body. And then what sometimes happens at that moment is that there's a new insight that arises spontaneously, and that insight is liberating. It's what's been hidden beneath there. It's a truth about you. For example, for myself, one of the liberating insights I had after a huge cry and process was, I no longer have to be afraid that I will fall off into shadow of being lost, of being confused, of being ashamed. And then a new script arose for me that just came out. She said, what's the truth? What replaces it? And what came up for me was, I choose a blessing, trusting, peaceful relationship with myself and all. So one type of process is when it's guided by a person. The other ones are when we're in peer process networks. And so both are really valuable. My belief is that the purpose of going to specialists, professionals, people who have insights, counselors, psychologists, therapists, is to help us do the work that we can't do ourselves, but ultimately to connect us to our own living process so that we begin to learn our own cues about our bodies and our own messages and start to live in a stream where we're not just listening to the thoughts, we're listening to the awareness of the body.
Yes. Did you want to add something?
I was just wondering if you could maybe share something about maybe something in your body that is connected to something else. Would that be possible?
Well, like the story of, oh, sure. Okay, I got to do that. Okay. Well, what I shared before was that I'm not capable. You know, I had all these body aches and pains as I was preparing this, and it was this pain in my left hip that just came out of nowhere. It's gone now, but it's been bothering me since I said I would. Yeah, oh, sure, I'll do that, and it's connected to the belief that I am not capable of being in a leadership position and handling it in a way that I thought a leader needed to handle it. So other beliefs that can be hidden away are: I'm not enough, I'm not capable, I'm unwanted, I'm different, I'm defective, I'm bad, I'm naughty, I'm powerless, I'm not safe, I'm wrong, I'm unsuccessful, I don't count, I am unworthy. I used to not want to spend any money on going to get my toenails done. I wasn't worthy of spending that money to go and enjoy having my feet rubbed and getting my toenails done. Well, I do that now. You know, I am worthy of that. That's good, something good for me to do. We have very little time, so I'm, 3 minutes. I don't know if I can do a guided meditation in 3 minutes.
We can go over, can't we?
Can we go over? Okay. So then I'll in the 3 minutes, I will end the speaking part. The 4 A's of EA. These are excellent ways of accessing old beliefs and bringing ourselves into awareness. Working steps 1, 2, and 3 of EA helps us to find acceptance through the process of surrendering. We admit we're powerless over our emotions. We are powerless over other people. We are powerless over our environments of our childhoods that often help form the beliefs we have about ourselves, others, and things that we couldn't control. We move forward taking action and cultivating more positive attitudes with kindness and gentleness and compassion for ourselves as well as others. Working the steps of EA, we learn to come to forgiveness, which paves our lives with more peace and joy, and we learn to live a better way. So I would like to end this presentation with a guided meditation. So if you all want to get comfortable in your seats again, I will talk you through something here. Okay. I'm going to put on a little music, and I hope you can hear it. First of all, EA says about meditation. Meditation is not some hippie activity that involves sitting cross-legged and wearing white robes and a turban. I promise you, you don't have to do that. It is simply a process of turning our thoughts inward to focus on our spiritual energy. As we do this, we will find a way, we will begin to align our will with the will of our higher power. So begin by sitting comfortably in your chair with your eyes closed. Take a few moments to breathe, consciously letting go of your day, your week, any stresses or concerns, anything that's hanging on from the past, any worries that are about things that are yet to come. Allow yourself to simply be present with your breath. Slowly breathe in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Continue these slow breaths for a few moments, being mindful of your thoughts, your body, any pain, sensations, or feelings that might arise. Just notice them. Allow them to just exist. Allow them simply to move through you without judgment. Begin to relax your body. As you breathe in, bring your awareness to the top of your head, your scalp. Allow the breath to soften and remove any tension, releasing it from your body as you exhale. Next, bring your attention to your eyes, your face, your ears, your jaw, your neck. Noticing and allowing the breath to soften and release any tension. Continue moving down the body to the shoulders, the arms, the elbows, the forearms, the hands, and the fingers, softening and releasing any tension with each breath. Continue breathing, moving down the body to the chest and the abdomen, encompassing all of the organs of your body, your lungs, your heart, your stomach, your spleen, your liver and gallbladder, the small intestines, your large intestines, the bladder, the organs of reproduction. Make a mental note of anything that wants your attention, such as an emotion, a feeling, or a sensation in your body. Notice if there's a message for you. A knotted muscle, a pain in the heart, an upset stomach. As you move through the body, do so from a place of non-judgment, letting sensations and feelings arise as gracefully as your breath. Continue moving your attention to your hips, your knees, your ankles, your feet, and your toes. Breathing, noticing, allowing. What is your body telling you? What needs attention? How is your body asking you to slow down and nourish self-care? Take a few cleansing breaths through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. Bring your awareness up, and when you are ready, open your eyes, allowing yourself to feel comfort in your body, quietness of your mind, and peace in your spirit. How are you feeling? I want to thank you all for coming and allowing me to share with you a little bit about what I know. So, you're welcome.